we're doing this much bigger story. We were in touch with the North Carolina Tourism Board for a lot of issues with it, and they suggested that we go up and meet these guys who are starting this moonshine distillery up sort of northern North Carolina, in the hills. The one guy who's the master distiller who spoke to in the video, I guess his legend has it, his great-grandfather taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey, and his dad was one of the, I guess, the premier bootleggers in the state, and was best friends with a man who would go on to become probably the first NASCAR legend. So when we got there, there was this original bootleg running car. It was a 1961 Chrysler New Yorker, and it hadn't been touched in, I don't know, probably 50 years. So as I said in the video, or as Peter said in the video, when it came off the factory floor, it probably had about 350 horsepower. And when Junior Johnson and Willie Clay Call were done with it, it probably had about 500. It was probably the smoothest video I've made. Actually, I guess we recorded most of it. And then we were doing the end part where Peter usually talks to the camera. Like we set up a GoPro in the car, and Peter usually talks to it while we're driving. But then his mic wasn't connected, so we came back to connect it, then the camera died, and then we went to switch batteries, or maybe even just switch cameras, and then the car actually died on us, which wasn't so good. The guy actually had to get the car. We spent probably 2 hours trying to get the car to work again, but to no avail. So the guy actually had to get it towed. We had to get a ride back into town. But we were able to just sort of fake that last 30 seconds of the video with voiceover. They're pretty much the same. Like we do a lot of, I'm the online editor for the drive section, so we do a lot of car videos, and it tends to be a lot of the same shots over again. Like if you saw that wraparound shot, that looks like it's taken on a 3D camera or something. That's a pretty standard shot. We just set a GoPro up to like a back windshield of the car, and then we just drive as tight as we can around the other car. So that's always going to happen. We're usually always going to have GoPro shots facing forward, facing back, like on the hood facing back, on the roof facing forward, on the hood facing back. This car was a bit special because it had those giant tail fins on it, so we could actually set the GoPro up to one of the tail fins and get that sort of long shot, give a real good idea of how big the car actually is from the very back of it, and how it sort of moves. Like it isn't such a sticky car to the road. And everything else was just sort of stills, not stills, but like static shots of the car. Well, we knew we needed a lot of B-roll, just a lot of tights of the car, so like badges, nameplates, interior shots of the car. We knew we needed the starting sequence, so like the key turning, and then also the shot where it actually turns on from the back of the car to get the sound of the muffler and stuff when it starts. And then anything Peter mentioned, so when he talks about the engine, we had to shoot that a few times so I could get closer shots of the actual engine with his hand going in and out. And we needed shots of the suspension and the struts and that stuff. No, we definitely would have shot it. It would have been very, very different. It would have been a lot of like cars on the side of the road. It wouldn't have looked nearly as cool. It would have been a lot of like the car passing the camera both ways, sort of like coming toward the camera and going away from the camera. And then we probably would have had someone else drive, and I probably would have hung out the window holding a camera to get that sort of like car-on-car shot. But there's a lot of those cool shots we wouldn't have been able to get. The interior shots would have been a lot tighter too. Like I would have probably hopped in the passenger seat and sort of like got right up against the passenger side door to shoot that shot, but it wouldn't have looked nearly as good. But there's so much flexibility with it. It's such a nice shot too. I guess I'm like a fake videographer. Like I've been an online editor for a long time. I started doing like producing sort of TV stuff in school, so I guess 10 years ago. And it's only a matter of time before someone just hands you a camera and asks you to shoot something. and then just kept practicing from there. Like had some courses on it, on shooting and editing and stuff in university, but most of the experience I've learned has just been out shooting stuff.